Liam's life was quiet, not in a peaceful, fulfilling way, but in a way that felt unfinished. Every day followed a pattern so predictable it almost erased the feeling of time passing. Morning light slipped through the same window, he sat in the same chair, wrote in the same notebook, and ended each day with the same thought, maybe tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow became his favorite word. It carried hope without requiring action. It allowed him to believe in change without facing the discomfort of actually creating it. He wasn't lazy. He was stuck. There's a difference. Liam spent hours thinking about building something of his own. He didn't want a traditional path. No school structure, no waiting for permission, no following a script written by someone else. He wanted to create something practical, something useful that people could actually benefit from. Sometimes he imagined a small online business, selling simple digital tools, templates, or guides that solved everyday problems. Other times, he pictured something more physical, a workspace filled with materials, creating products with his hands. His mind was full of ideas. But his actions? Still, because thinking felt safe. Action didn't. His comfort zone wasn't exciting, but it protected him from something he feared more than failure, exposure. The moment you try, you risk being seen, judged, measured. And Liam wasn't sure he was ready for that. So instead, he prepared endlessly. He researched, planned, rewrote ideas, organized notes, perfected concepts that never left the page. It looked like progress. But it wasn't. It was hiding. Deep down, he knew it. Every time he closed his notebook, there was a quiet weight in his chest, a reminder that nothing had actually changed. One evening, that weight felt heavier than usual. The room was silent, but his thoughts were loud. He flipped through pages of ideas he had written over months, business concepts, sketches, plans, all carefully outlined, and completely untouched by reality. That's when something inside him shifted. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a clear, undeniable truth: if I don't move now, I never will. It wasn't fear that followed. It was clarity. For the first time, Liam saw his comfort zone for what it really was, not safety, but limitation. It hadn't been protecting him, it had been keeping him small. He looked around his room, the same space that once felt secure now felt like a cage built from routine and hesitation. And suddenly, staying felt more dangerous than trying. So he did something unfamiliar. He acted before he felt ready. No perfect plan. No complete knowledge. No guarantee. Just a decision. He opened his laptop, not to research, not to plan, but to create. His hands hesitated over the keyboard. Doubt crept in immediately. What if this doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? But this time, he didn't wait for those thoughts to disappear. He moved anyway. He started with something small, a simple idea he had been overthinking for weeks. A basic digital product. Nothing complex. Just something useful. The first attempt was messy. Incomplete. Far from perfect. But it was real. And that changed everything. Because action, no matter how small, breaks something powerful, the illusion that you're stuck. That night, Liam didn't build something impressive. He built momentum. And momentum doesn't feel like comfort. It feels like uncertainty mixed with possibility. For the first time in a long time, Liam didn't go to sleep thinking about what he could do someday. He thought about what he had already started. And that made all the difference. The next few days tested him. Starting had been hard, but continuing was harder. Doubt didn't disappear. In fact, it grew louder. Every mistake felt like confirmation of his fears. Every small setback made him question whether stepping out of his comfort zone had been the right decision. There were moments he wanted to go back. Back to thinking. Back to planning. Back to safe. Because safe didn't challenge him, Safe didn't expose him. Safe didn't make him feel uncertain. But safe also never moved him forward. And now, he had felt something different. Even in the discomfort, there was progress. Even in the uncertainty, there was growth. He began to understand something important: comfort feels good in the moment. But growth feels meaningful over time. So he kept going. Slowly. Imperfectly. But consistently. He spent hours learning, not from school, not from a structured system, but from doing. Trying. Failing. Adjusting. Trying again. Every mistake taught him something no book ever had. Every small success gave him confidence that couldn't be faked. And with each step, the fear that once held him back started losing its control. It didn't disappear. But it no longer decided his actions. Weeks turned into something different, not routine, but progress. His days were no longer identical. They were evolving. Changing. Moving. Liam was no longer waiting for the right moment. He was creating it. And somewhere along the way, he realized something powerful: the comfort zone he once relied on didn't just keep him safe. It kept him stuck. And now that he had stepped outside of it, even slightly, he could never fully go back to the person he used to be. Because once you see what's possible beyond fear, staying the same is no longer an option. The excitement of starting didn't last forever. For Liam, reality set in quietly, but firmly. The first few weeks after stepping out of his comfort zone weren't inspiring or cinematic. They were frustrating, slow, and filled with moments that made him question everything. What once felt like a bold decision now felt like a daily test of patience. Because building something from nothing, without school, without a guide, without certainty, meant facing problems he didn't even know existed. There was no roadmap. No one telling him, "You're doing this right." Just silence, effort, and results that didn't always match his expectations. Some days, he worked for hours and felt like he achieved nothing. Other days, a simple task took longer than it should, leaving him drained and unsure. Mistakes weren't just mistakes, they felt personal. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. That thought came often. But this time, Liam didn't run from it. He questioned it. Because deep down, he knew something had already changed. He wasn't the same person who avoided discomfort anymore. Now, he faced it, even when it felt heavy. So instead of quitting, he adjusted. He simplified his approach. Instead of trying to build something perfect, he focused on building something useful. That shift changed everything. He stopped overcomplicating his work and started paying attention to real problems. Small ones. Everyday ones. The kind people actually needed help with. He refined his idea into something practical, a simple digital toolkit that helped people stay organized, track their habits, and manage their time better. It wasn't revolutionary. But it was real. And more importantly, it was finished. That mattered, because finishing something, no matter how small, builds a kind of confidence that thinking never can. Still, putting his work out into the world was another challenge entirely. Creating in private felt safe. Sharing it didn't. The moment he considered showing others what he built, fear returned, stronger than before. What if no one cares? What if people criticize it? What if this proves I'm not good enough? Those thoughts could have stopped him. Before, they would have. But now, Liam understood something he didn't before: fear doesn't disappear when you grow. You just stop obeying it. So he shared it anyway. At first, nothing happened. No reactions. No feedback. Just silence. And that silence was louder than any criticism. It made him question everything again. For a moment, he felt the pull of his old life, the comfort of staying unseen, where failure didn't exist because effort didn't exist either. But he had come too far to turn back. So he stayed consistent. He improved his work. He learned how to communicate its value. He paid attention to what worked and what didn't. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. And slowly, almost unnoticeably, things began to shift. One message. Someone saying they found his tool helpful. Then another. Someone recommending it to a friend. Small signs. But powerful ones. Because they meant his work mattered. Not in a big, dramatic way, but in a real, human way. And that was enough. Liam wasn't chasing perfection anymore. He was building impact, one small step at a time. As time passed, the struggle didn't disappear, but it changed. The problems he faced were different now. Less about doubt, more about growth. Less about starting, more about improving. He began to trust himself. Not because he had all the answers, but because he had proven that he could figure things out. That confidence wasn't loud. It didn't announce itself. It showed up quietly, in the way he approached challenges, in the way he handled setbacks, in the way he kept going even when things felt uncertain. He had built something more valuable than success. He had built resilience, and that changed how he saw everything. He no longer feared failure the way he used to. Failure wasn't the opposite of success, it was part of it. A necessary step. A teacher. Looking back, Liam realized something important: his comfort zone hadn't just delayed his dreams. It had almost erased them. Not through force. But through stillness. Through waiting. Through convincing him that, someday, was enough. But someday doesn't build anything. Action does. Even imperfect action. Especially imperfect action. One evening, months after he had started, Liam sat in the same room where everything had once felt stuck. But it didn't feel the same anymore. The space hadn't changed. He had. His laptop was open, not with ideas waiting to be started, but with work already in motion. His notes weren't filled with plans, they were filled with progress, lessons, improvements. There was still uncertainty. Still challenges ahead. But there was also something new, direction. He wasn't wondering if he could build something anymore. He was already doing it. And that quiet realization meant more than any external success ever could. Because the biggest shift wasn't what he built. It was who he became while building it. A person who no longer needed comfort to feel safe. A person who understood that growth lives in discomfort. A person who stopped waiting, and started creating. Liam still felt fear sometimes. That never fully disappears. But now, he saw it differently. Fear wasn't a warning to stop. It was a signal that he was stepping into something bigger. And this time, he didn't step back. He leaned in. Because he knew the truth now: comfort zones don't kill dreams overnight. They do it quietly, by keeping you where nothing changes. But the moment you step out, even just a little, you give your dreams a chance to breathe. And once they start breathing, they don't stop growing.